66. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Kirk Market, experience a world of choice.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is For the Record.
For the Record. 1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Floyd Hulbert Bush, 1911 to 1946. Floyd Hulbert Bush grew up in West Bay. He is said to have had a great sense of humor and was well liked by all. He was married to the former Aletha Perlina Hydes, with whom he had one son. As a young man, he was the driver for the first private doctor to come to Cayman, Dr. Thompson. He also fished at Mosquito Keys with his boat, the X-10. At the age of 29, he shipped out to Tampa to look for work and got a place on a merchant marine ship. The ship was captured, and Floyd spent some time as a prisoner of war in Germany. When he came home in 1945, he had severe headaches and finally went to Jamaica for treatment. He was sent to Canada for brain surgery and tragically died there. His body was sent to Jamaica for burial.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget, our Custom Closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Good morning, everyone. We've had some technical issues here. I believe that we have them sorted out now. I hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday to you. And to remind you that, For the Record, birthday shout-outs brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support your birthday shout-out. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. And by Superior Auto. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune. Call them at 949-9570 or 525-9571. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing. In particular, this morning, we want to extend our condolences to the family of the late Mr. Donovan Ebanks, who unfortunately passed away yesterday, and I will share with you a statement from the government of the Cayman Islands, which was released yesterday, and it reads, "The Cayman Islands government expresses condolences on the passing of the Cayman Islands First Deputy Governor, Mr. Donovan Ebanks, this morning, Sunday, the 2nd of June, 2024. Mr. Ebanks had an esteemed public service career spanning several decades. His distinguished service was recognized in 1994 when the late Queen Elizabeth II awarded him an MBE during her visit to the Cayman Islands. Mr. Ebanks joined the Public Works Department in 1975, demonstrating exceptional capability early on. He was promoted to chief engineer at the young age of 30. His upward trajectory continued with his subsequent promotion to deputy chief secretary in 1994 and Chief Secretary in 2009. In 2009, following the enactment of the new Constitution, which renamed the Chief Secretary position to Deputy Governor, Mr. Ebanks became the island's first Deputy Governor. Throughout his tenure, he spearheaded important initiatives, including civil service reform and the establishment of the Commission's Secretariat and the Hazard Management Cayman Islands, known by the acronym HMCI Department. His career has been marked by dedicated public service and significant contribution to the governance and development of the Cayman Islands. So that was released by the Cayman Islands government on the passing of Mr. Donovan Ebanks. I should also point out to you that he was actively involved. He was involved in the Cayman Islands Basketball Association. He played himself. He also played. And he was an ardent baseball fan as well. Huge baseball fan. He will be missed by the civil service community, those who knew him, those who worked with him as well. An amazing gentleman. Sometimes he could be low-keyed, but at the same time, when he spoke with authority. He didn't speak off the top of his head. He certainly researched, did research, made sure that what he was talking about was there, and extremely organized as well. I guess as an engineer, it comes with the profession in terms of being meticulous, being sure that everything falls in place as well. Certainly on this show you will hear more about the late Mr. Donovan Ebanks as the week goes by as well. But again, we here at Radio Cayman, along with the government and the people of the Cayman Islands, extend our sincerest condolences to the family of the late Mr. Donovan Ebanks as well. Ms. Susan, we're going to still take the commercial break at this point in time. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, I will share with you the birthday shout-outs for today as well. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The real magic of the Summer Olympics is closer than you think. Coca-Cola is giving you the chance to win a trip of a lifetime to the Olympic Games in Paris this summer. Just grab any 2 8-packs of Coca-Cola or Sprite products at a participating store and you could be jetting off to see the Olympics live and in person. It's an all-inclusive trip for 2. Don't miss out on the action. Find your nearest participating store and enter now. Follow the flame to CaymanToParis.com.
Cayman Islands, your input can shape our future. Plan Cayman needs your input on the updated planning statement to create a sustainable community for everyone. Help shape Cayman's future by participating in public consultations with the Central Planning Authority and the Ministries for Planning and Sustainability. Together, we can build a thriving Cayman. For details and to find the meeting closest to you, visit plancayman.ky. Your voice matters. Let's plan Cayman together.
This is For the Record.
Morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio yet. Later on this morning at 8:15 we will have guests in the studio talking about the upcoming DDay as well. So let's look at the birthday shout-outs. The For the Record birthday shout-outs brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support your birthday shout-out. Coca-Cola available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. And by Superior Auto. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune. Call them on 949-9570 or 525-9571. So yesterday, Mr. Joseph Ebanks celebrated his birthday. We gave him a big shout out on Friday, but we'll give him another shout out again today. We hope that Joseph enjoyed his day as well. So today we're looking at Miss Denise Watson Campbell celebrating her birthday. Our own Radio Cayman's own Miss April Cummings celebrating her birthday today as well. Happy birthday to you, Miss April. Pamela Ebanks also celebrating a birthday today. Marilyn Jackson also. So Marilyn Jackson, Pamela Ebanks, our own Miss April Cummings, Denise Watson Campbell celebrating birthdays today. Then tomorrow, Miss Sarah Orrett is celebrating her birthday. And if you happen to go visit the government administration building, she's always there to greet you at the reception desk. Such a personable, pleasant young lady as well. And all government employees should be like her. Many are like her, but if they were all like her, government administration building would be, and all government entities would be a much better place as well. Also tomorrow, Miss Chastine Elizabeth Rankin celebrating her birthday, so we want to wish Miss Chastine a happy birthday when it comes along as well. If you know someone who's celebrating a birthday today, please send us those details and we will give them a shout out right here on the For the Record birthday shout outs, or WhatsApp number 925-3261. No guests in the studio yet, so if you want to call in, if you have any questions, comments, any observations that you want to make, please feel free to share them with us. You can call us on our toll-free number, not functioning, but 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp number 925-3261 as well. So let's look and see what else we can share with you this morning on For the Record. Still a little bit flustered because of the little bug that we had. So I still have to settle into my routine this morning. So folks, just bear with me, and we will get you there. Meanwhile, if you want to break the ice, give us a call on 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp number 925-3261 as well. So, what has been happening otherwise? Some of the news stories that may be dominating the headlines today. We see where, okay, we do have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines then. I'll share this afterwards. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Hey, good morning.
I'm back with a vengeance.
Yes.
Taking no prisoners and no conviction and no excuses.
Okay.
Yeah. Many topics, but one that is freshly on my mind. I was in a conversation with an individual contractor, local contractor out of my district in East End.
Mm-hmm.
He was contracted to build a dwelling, low income, on what you call the Benicle Cliff up in East End, John McLean Drive, solid ground.
Yep.
The architect actually draw the dwelling for 6-inch blocks. I think housing development was involved in the development of the project, and they went back to the contractor and say, "Hey, we changed our mind. We want to build a house out of 8-inch block, 8-inch, going from 6 to 8." He did that. Get to the 7 rows where you got a call for inspection. The inspector came out and inspected and tell him to continue. When he got to the Belton, another inspector came, shut the project down. Why? You changed the blocks from 6 to 8. The plan called for 6-inch block. But also common sense. Now, this is what you talks about. Not just common sense and not too common. Wouldn't you changing building your house from 6 to 8-inch block be much better, much stronger? Because of hurricane and everything else. I could see if it had went from 8 to 6. Yeah, shut it down here. You're cutting corners now. If that's the case, even though 6-inch block is still a strong, very strong house. So that project was shut down pending the redrawing of the plan, and they had to go back to the architect. The house sat there idly, losing a lot of the other material that was on site, that decaying, for almost 4 months.
Wow.
Until it could be redrawn, submitted again, go before the approval board or whoever do that to get it approved for this gentleman to start again. He told me just about to start this week. I'm back on the project.
And this was one of those affordable homes being built by government.
Well, I think sometimes there's something where if you have the land, and then you can get housing to come in and do it. But it's not like in the scheme of the housing development. It's a private piece of land. Then you go to I think plan the housing development and ask for assistance, and they would do the same thing like how they would build you a low income. Yeah, that was the situation. So I thought it was really nice that the housing came up with the idea that they're going to do now 8-inch instead of 6. A bit more expensive and everything, but it's more durable. So now for planning, somebody from planning to go and approve it at 7 rows, and then another guy come and disapprove it. I'm not sure now whether they're being technically correct or
they need to get their act in. They need to get their act together in terms of consistency, but also the what adverse impact would the change from 6 to 8-inch block have on the building itself? Like you said earlier, you could understand going from 8 to 6, but going from 6 to 8, what adverse impact, or are they just simply saying you can't just make changes like that without first getting the approval?
I think I'm saying that now, the common sense. Oh, they went from 6 to 8. Oh wow, that's great. Everybody should do that. You see what I mean? Common sense then would kick in, because they have submitted, redraw the plan only to say that it's now 8-inch.
As opposed to 6, yeah.
Right. So tell me now, what if it was so bad you put a bulldozer there, knock it down, and make them start all over? So now it was just a matter of drawing the plan over to say it's gone from 6 to 8. That's a lot of expense for the individual. I mean, and it's income in the first place.
Yeah.
That don't go down good with me, see.
So we still have some time.
Technically correct, and not using. I don't think technicality should come into this. I think common sense should have been displayed there.
Yeah, to a certain extent, but and of course, if you want your records to reflect the correct
you could change
information, yes, exactly. That's why I said, if it didn't have any adverse impact on the building itself, why should it take so long?
Because I know many times our good friend Alan, or somebody comes in with an electrical error, he would kind of correct it right and say, no, you can't do this. You got to do it like this. And do it like this. That when I come out and inspect, make sure it's like that. Even though the plan had said something that wasn't, completely correct. But instead of disapproving it and send it back, and it got to get back in the queue again, and for a simple little thing.
Yep.
Come on, you got to use your thing, your common sense. I know you say it's not too common nowadays, but but in cases like that, I thought that was ridiculous. So see, and then shut down the job for almost 4 months, going on 5 months now. Just because of that ridiculous. We need to
and that must have some impact on the person, especially if they have any sort of loan from a bank or anything like that as well, and their payment's going to start at a particular point in time, and they're not in the house yet, in the structure. Wow.
And not architects not cheap, and the architect not gonna just draw it over because it was no error that he made, to say, well, I gotta do it free.
Yeah, it was yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let you go, but I come in. You got guests on Wednesday?
Not sure yet. Haven't heard from my regular guest yet. Normally we're looking at every other week. I'm sure that they will probably want to come on before Parliament convenes, which is on the
the argument should be in the House. Take the argument to the House and approve what they got to approve for the best interest of Cayman people. Don't be coming up on no radio with that. We can't even call them in. I not get a chance to call them yet when they're on. Go on the floor of the House. Okay.
All right.
You got guests today?
Yeah. I have. We're going to be talking about DDay celebrations coming up on the 6th of June. With Mr. Alfonso and Mr. Andrew McLaughlin from the Cayman Islands Veterans Association. Also, our own Mr. Loxley Banks, and I'm told that Mr. Shane Bothwell as well. So we're going to have a panel on this morning.
Panel on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very,
all right,
very.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, take care.
Yeah,
Folks,
right.
We've reached the top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. When we return, conversation will continue. Don't change that dial. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 8 o'clock.
When you're on the go, the experienced team at Foster's Pharmacy are here to help. Drop off your prescription while you shop or WhatsApp us and we'll prepare it, ready for your arrival.
Whether you need prescription or over-the-counter medications, blood glucose testing, or advice on vitamins and supplements, we're here early in the morning to late at night. Both of our locations at our Camana Bay and airport stores are open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday to Saturday.
For more info, visit fosters.ky/pharmacy. Foster's Pharmacy. Better health because we care.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. Today marks an historic occasion, the first UK Overseas Territory Day. Premier the Honourable Juliana O'Connor-Connolly.
As President of UKOTA, the United Kingdom Overseas Territories Association, I am delighted to announce the establishment of the United Kingdom Overseas Territories Day. It is a day that seeks to raise awareness and to foster a deeper connection between the UK and its overseas territories and will be celebrated on the first Monday of June. The UK Overseas Territories Day is a wonderful opportunity to take pride in the extraordinary diversity of the overseas territories, to celebrate the unique ties that bind us together as a global British family and to reflect on what more we can do together to pursue common goals and address global challenges.
There are 16 UK overseas territories, of which 12 are inhabited, each with its own way of life, dialect, cuisine, music, national dress, and art. The UK overseas territories are located in the Caribbean, Mediterranean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, and in Antarctica. The UK's global footprint is, quote, unrivaled and truly extends across the world. In other news, a bit of relief at the pump in Grand Cayman, but Little Cayman drivers take another hit. According to the Overall Retail Network weekly analysis of the Cayman Islands done by the Utility and Competition Regulation Office, the average price of self-service regular gasoline is now $5.29 a gallon, which is a 1-cent drop since the last check on May 25th. Premium self-service gasoline fell 2 cents to $5.76 and diesel fell a penny to $5.63 a gallon. For a quick comparison, 3 months ago, regular was $5.43, premium at $5.87, and diesel was selling for $5.69. For Grand Cayman, the cheapest self-service regulars are reportedly being sold at H&B 17 Mile, where Off-Reg says it's $4.06 a self-service gallon. The regulator says the average price for gas in Cayman Brac is $5.96. Folks on Little Cayman saw a 7-cent bump to pay now $7.33 a gallon. On the diesel side of things, Off-Reg says the cheapest self-service option is Eastern Avenue, where it's selling for $5.15 a gallon. Refuel has its ethanol blended gas selling for $4.28. According to AAA, the average price of gasoline in Florida has fallen to $3.43 USD for regular, $4.16 for premium. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Kersley Fuller.
BBC News, I'm John Shea. Nigeria's power grid has been shut down because of a nationwide strike by public sector workers. The strike was called after talks with the government over the national minimum wage broke down. Prices have soared due to rising inflation and the weakening of the Nigerian currency, the naira. The people of Mexico have elected the country's first woman president. Claudia Sheinbaum, who is a climate scientist and the former mayor of Mexico City, won a landslide victory in Sunday's election. One of the world's biggest car manufacturers, Japan's Toyota, has been ordered to halt shipments of some vehicles because of testing irregularities. A wide-ranging government investigation found inconsistencies with certification data on issues such as crash testing and emissions. The United Nations nuclear watchdog has said the situation at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine remains precarious. Speaking in Vienna, the IAEA's head, Rafael Grossi, said military activity and the frequent disconnection of off-site power lines were creating a grave situation. The Indian Election Commission says 642 million people voted in the country's parliamentary polls. The Chief Commissioner, Rajiv Kumar, said it was a world record. The German Chancellor has visited areas in Bavaria hardest hit by flooding caused by recent torrential rains. Olaf Scholz said the country must not neglect the task of stopping man-made climate change. 2 people have died as a result of the flooding. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has told the Prime Minister to form a new government after the resignation of Mustafa Madbouli's cabinet. The move follows Mr. Sisi's re-election for a 3rd term late last year. And the American YouTuber Mr. Beast says he's had a huge surge in subscribers after becoming the platform's biggest channel. And that's the latest BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin are the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
The 23rd Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts, Tranquility, is here. Presented by the New Self-Help Foundation, Sunday, June 30th at the Harkwell Theater. Awesome performances by Rico Rolando.
Here we go again, there's something in this water.
Dream Chasers, Radiance Dance Studio, UCCI Dance Company, Centerpoint Dance Studio, Cayman National Dance Company, and more. Hosted by Anika Connolly and Lloyd Barker. Part of the proceeds from the Talent Exposition will go to support the training program of the arts. Tickets are available from the #1 shoe shop and Winner's Circle Sports. Prepaid tickets $15 or $20 at the gate. The 2024 Talent Exposition of the Arts, Tranquility, Sunday, 30th June at the Harkwell Theater. Gates open at 5. Show starts at 6. Get your tickets today.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcade, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 83%. The barometric pressure is 29.90 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east-northeast at 6 knots. Overnight low temperature was 81 degrees. Synopsis indicate a weak pressure gradient over the northwest Caribbean will support light easterly winds and seas over the Cayman area for the next 24 hours. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area. Now, the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today, calling for partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures today will be in the low 90s. Winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of late night showers and temperatures falling to the upper 70s tonight. Your winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Low tide will be this afternoon at 1:30, high tide again tonight at 8:16. The sun will set this evening at 6:59 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:47. And the outlook is calling for an increase in cloudiness and showers by Thursday morning, as a tropical wave is expected to move along the northwest Caribbean. That's the very latest on your weather report.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcade, where people come first.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Britcade. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
Our diet plays a vital role in our well-being, and with diabetes rates on the rise due to unhealthy eating patterns, it's more important than ever to pay attention to what we consume. Left unmanaged, diabetes can lead to serious health issues like heart disease, vision loss, and kidney disease. Prioritizing good nutrition and working with a physician who focuses on prevention and symptom management can help keep diabetes under control and improve your overall quality of life.
Your health tip was brought to you by Total Health, comprehensive preventative health care in the Cayman Islands.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at this time at traffic. Traffic is heavy coming off of the
Esterly Tibbetts Highway. And continuing on to North Sound Road, steady but flowing traffic. Off of Bobby Thompson Way, traffic is steady, as well as on Huldah Avenue. And slow-moving traffic on Crew Road heading to Georgetown. Eastbound traffic on Crew Road is moderate. Then for Pearson Highway, steady but flowing traffic. On Edward Street, little slow-moving traffic there. And into Georgetown on Shedden Road, looking pretty good out of Georgetown on Shedden Road. Traffic is moderate. On the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions, as well as coming from the West Bay four-way stop. If you've seen any accidents or incidents, please give us a call here at Radio Cayman 949-6990. And traffic moving along moderately in both directions on Eastern Avenue and Godfrey Nixon Way. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another look at traffic.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Introducing the new Shoreline iMap. Discover over 300 plus public shoreline access points in the Cayman Islands by using a new digital interactive map of all the public access pathways and beaches. Test out the new Shoreline iMap today and get walking or driving directions, see 360-degree street views, and find out what amenities are available at any shoreline access point found on the iMap. Dive into a world of coastal beauty and adventure. Use the Shoreline iMap today by visiting gov.ky/shoreline. Presented by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands.
If you're a parent, you know that providing your child with a quality early childhood education can be expensive. However, the Ministry of Education offers financial assistance through its Early Childhood Assistance Program to help qualifying Caymanian families cover the costs at registered early childhood settings. Visit our online application portal at moeapplications.gov.ky to learn more and get started. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We do have our guests in the studio and we will be talking about DDay 80, which is the 80th anniversary of DDay. And we could throw this out there in the meantime for our listening and viewing audience. I heard this question, or I may have read it somewhere. What does the D and DDay stand for? And it will surprise you when you find out exactly what it stands for. So, meanwhile, if you know that, shoot us a WhatsApp message. We don't have any gifts or any prizes to give out in that regard, but it means that you either know it or you can do your research as well. Meanwhile, I'm going to ask my guests to introduce themselves to our listening and viewing audience, starting on my left. Good morning, sir. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, Mr. Connor. My name is Sheen Bothwell. Veteran of the U.S. Army. Served with the 101st Airborne Division for 8 years in the Range Battalion for 4.
Okay.
Alfonso Wright, Executive Chairman, Celebrate Cayman.
Morning, sir.
It's going to take a while.
No, we'll make it short. Loxley Banks, member of the Cayman Islands Veteran Association executive, and 6 years U.S. Air Force career, and all over the place, Operation Hardtack, and all those kind of things.
Okay, Alfonso, we're going to start off with you.
Yeah, morning, Osia, morning everybody. I'm so happy to be here with Sheen and Mr. Loxley this morning. This is indeed a pleasure for us. Celebrate Cayman is involved in the logistics side of things and helping organize the event, but it's all about the veterans and what happened around the world 80 years ago, come Thursday. Wonderful opportunity for us to reflect, to quite understand. I don't know if we'll ever quite do that, but we can reflect nevertheless on the efforts, the many sacrifices that were made so that we are now a free world, so to speak. Still issues going on around the world, but that day was exceptionally significant in where we are today. So we're here to lend a hand to the Veterans Association on behalf of the government to organize a period of reflection, of understanding exactly what happened that day, and to come to terms with the fact that although we're such a small little country, we too played a significant role in world peace.
Certainly. Mr. Banks.
Yeah, well, I think picking up on what Alfonso said, significant, occasion, if you want to put it that way, in the history of world, I guess, of the world, world conflict, so forth and so on, because on that day, I guess it was over probably 200,000 brave men. And if you want to see what other adjectives you can put to that brave, there's several videos online now that depicts, and it pretty much give you a good synopsis of what D-Day was all about. But some of the pictures, the graphics on it are quite vivid because it's a documentary. Well, there are a few online, but most of them have, I guess, scrubbed all the archives of the German World War II pictures and the British and the American, and they've all collated them together, actual photos of, you see, landing crafts approaching the beach in their big front end hatch, go down, and soldiers jumping off in neck-high water with, Shane, I guess back in those days, probably the backpack was 70 pounds.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy 70 pounds.
70 pounds.
Standard load of an infantry soldier was 70 pounds in their ruck and equipment.
Yeah. Struggling to get out of the water, facing German guns up above their head. I mean, it's, and I think, especially here in Cayman, we take so much for granted, and we just don't realize the sacrifices that Caymanians and a lot of other people made in an instance like this, because there was a Caymanian, Andrew Henning, with with Shane's former division, 101st Armored Division, landed on D-Day on Normandy, struggled his way, fought his way all across Europe, 11 months, wound up sitting on the banks of the River Rhine. Germany free. So that should really tell you. And if you look back at the Cayman experience, Cayman, we might have had a population back in those days, 3,500, 4,000, if that.
If that, yeah.
But I think there was over 200 ships involved in that operation, and I would bet my life that there was a Caymanian somewhere within that enclosure.
We have a caller who is called in on the topic. Let's go to the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning. Good morning.
To your guest. I don't know if I'm correct on the answer here, but I do believe Sheen will correct me. I'm pretty sure he knows the answer. It's regarding the question about D-Day.
Okay.
Uh-huh. I don't know if my knowledge is correct here, but I believe that it's D-Day, and that's the way the military termed like their missions and stuff. Like on a particular day, if they were planning an invasion or whatever, they said D-Day. And for hour, they would say H-hour for the time. So I don't think the D actually stands for, like, say, doomsday or disaster or whatever. Yeah, it was just that it was designated for that particular day. So hence, military terms, D-Day. So
you're absolutely correct. And if you were to literally say it, you would say day. If you were interpreting the D, it would literally translate into day. So D-Day was used. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Sorry, we don't have any gifts to offer, but whenever anything comes along, we'll bear you in mind.
You know what? Just being right is a big enough prize.
Also, I think in connection with that, the D actually stands for decision day, because that was the big decision, because the actual landing had to be postponed for a day. And day of decision, there's a movie, I suppose you could dig it up somewhere online, about D-Day. I think it starred Paul Anka, John Wayne, all those. The cast was really Hollywood elite at the time. Yeah.
That ties in with the designated day of whatever they were planning. And if they didn't actually have a date set yet, they just said that, for that designated mission. So they called it D-Day. And if it was the time, they said H-hour.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I read along.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much, caller. So, Mr. Loxley, several. We had one called The Longest Day. Then there's one called D-Day. I'm not sure who starred in that one. When you click onto it, they want you to go and watch it on Amazon Prime.
Well, The Longest Day, I think,
Storming Juno
was the title of the
Countdown to D-Day.
The big picture on the D-Day decision on D-Day.
Yes. 10 great films on D-Day. Let's see if they actually list them on here. Raid Ball Express. D-Day, the 6th of June, 1956. Director Henry Koster. And The Longest Day, 1962. That was one as well.
I think John Wayne, Paul Anka, and
yes.
Hollywood is elite at the time. Robert Mitchum might have even been in there, I think.
I think that one, Longest Day, may have won 2 Academy Awards.
Right, yes.
One for cinematography and one for special effects. Longest Day is an epic recreation of D-Day beginning in the immediate lead up to the invasion, ending as the Allied troops advanced inland into France from their newly established beachhead. Shot in striking monochrome docu-drama style with an on-screen title naming various figures and subtitles for the French and German-led sequence. Longest Day captures the invasion from the angles of all the participants, primed and ready to go. The determination and courage showed by the Allied forces, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to see who the actors were in it. This is what we used to call those days the stars. Yeah. So, Mr. Bothwell, while of course you didn't participate in D-Day.
Thank goodness.
How does your experience in the military, compare and contrast to what those brave souls faced on D-Day?
Yeah. I pretty much grew up in the 101st, to be honest with you. I was a young teenager when I joined the 101st, and we learned and studied the invasion. For the 101st, it started the night of the 5th of June, and boarding planes in England, along with the 82nd Airborne, and they jumped in behind Utah and Omaha Beach almost exclusively. And having done mass jumps before, doing it in that situation, I can't imagine there was heavy fog that the pilots couldn't see, so they dropped them all over the place. They were disorganized. Very few, I think it was 1 in 6 actual drops landed close to where they were supposed to be. So they were really spread out thin. And but paratroopers being paratroopers, they hit the ground and started fighting, and it actually worked out that it disorganized the Germans so much that they didn't know where to counterattack because we were all over their backyard. And the 101st, the Sunday a second total was like 13,000, almost 13,500 paratroopers that dropped in there that night, and the casualties they took between the dropping and when they linked up with the 4th Infantry Division were almost 2,500. It was heavy losses and sharp fighting, and then the battles that I was involved with, the 101st, they pale in comparison because if we went into an area, it was generally a quick operation, and we were out. And I think the longest I was deployed in combat with the 101st was 6 months, and then they pulled us out. These guys were there, and they were there till the end. We were always in awe of the old guys because we got to see them quite a lot. We would have reunions for the different units. I used to be in the 506 Infantry, 1st Battalion, and we would have lots of reunions with those old timers come in and tell us the stories and their battles from D-Day all the way through to the end of the war. It was amazing. The character of those men is what shaped a lot of us, and just that example and that willingness to put your life on the line for something bigger than you, bigger than the 101st. It was amazing. I also my hats off to them. It's sad sometimes to see that they're so like this will probably be the last one that we have the amount of veterans left that actually fought in that war. They're rapidly being recalled, as we say.
Yes.
OC, just listening to Shane there, reflecting, now you take it. Shane grew up on Henning Beach in West Bay, roaming Lorraine Reef, and just listening to him there in this modern day, and thinking back to Andrew Henning, who actually grew up on Bogside Road, going in on Normandy on D-Day, Caymanians.
Yep. Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, folks. If you have any questions, observations, comments, if you have a family member that you know who may have served, please give us a call. If you may want to reflect on their service as well, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Stay ahead with Total Health for all your healthcare needs. Their state-of-the-art facility offers specialist consultations, diabetes and weight loss, women and child, ophthalmology, ENT, dental, orthopedics, physiotherapy, on-site laboratory, imaging and pharmacy all under one roof. Total Health also provides comprehensive health checks for women, children, men and senior citizens. Conveniently located in the Grand Pavilion on 7 Mile Beach Corridor. Experience a new era of preventive care in the Cayman Islands with Total Health. Because everyone deserves healthier living. Visit totalhealth.ky today and empower your well-being.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
The National Council for Persons with Disabilities is proud to invite members of the public to visit their new website. With this modern, user-friendly design, the site offers accessibility features as well as information and resources for everyone, including persons with disabilities, caregivers, and those with long-term health conditions. The National Council for Persons with Disabilities has been striving to bring accessibility and inclusivity to all residents of the Cayman Islands since 2017. Find out more. Visit www.disabilitycouncil.gov.ky.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
This is For the Record.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're talking about DDay 80, celebration of the Allied invasion on the 6th of June, 1944. Yeah, 1944. That conversation is taking place with Mr. Shane Bothwell, who, of course, didn't serve in 1944, but served since and put his life on the line for democracy to continue to prevail as well. Also, the chairperson of Celebrate Cayman, Mr. Alfonso Wright, and Mr. Loxley Banks, our own Mr. Loxley Bank, who is the executive member of the Cayman Islands Veterans Association. So you're going to mention, I did in my opening comments and earlier in promoting the show, point out that Mr. Andrew McLaughlin will be with us, so you'll speak to his absence, and then after that we're going to ask Miss Susan to play the first clip that Mr. Loxley has shared with us. Miss Susan, if you can prepare that for us, please.
Yeah, well, you know, Andrew, he's a 30-year veteran or 20-something year veteran of the Marine Corps, and he's got a very important job at the airport, so he is tied up most of the time, but doing a great job as leading the veterans, those of us who still left around, and hopefully we can draw some more those young folks out there. Because believe it or not, there are quite a number of young Caymanian veterans out in our community, and we've been trying to bring them in, but they kind of staying aloft there. But fellas, come on in. I believe before we go to that cut, Alfonso might have wanted to jump in here and say something.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I just want to take the opportunity to just tell people a little bit about what's going on. DDay, of course, the 80th anniversary is on Thursday coming, the 6th of June. And we are having an event at Pedro St. James on the evening of the 6th. And the public is invited. It's open invitation. There's no charge. We will have some refreshments, a bit of entertainment on stage. But we're going to be having probably a half an hour of formalities where the Premier will say a few words. Her Excellency the Governor will say a few words. Mr. Loxley is on the program to say the prayer, and also from the President of the Veterans Association. One significant part of the program, Mr. O.C., is the lighting of a beacon at 9:15. The event starts. It's in the night, and the time is decided by the world events that they're wanting all these things to happen at the same time, and that's why it's at 9. The beacon lighting is at 9:15 p.m. The events officially start around 8:15 p.m. But the regiment is also involved this year. This is the first time that we've had the opportunity to have them involved in the D-Day celebrations here. Okay. So they will be there with a static display, but they'll have a lot of their equipment and so on out there. Their big machinery and stuff will be on display there, as well as doing that static display and a lot of their materials and stuff under a tent, as well as displays from the Veterans Association as well. So refreshment will be provided. We would like as many people as possible to come there. This is an open invitation for everybody. Come and let's celebrate, but also show some respect and some reverence for our veterans. While some of them may not have been involved in the D-Day invasion, they have nevertheless played their role in maintaining democracy and world peace. So this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. As you heard Sheen said a few minutes ago, that most of them are now, what's the word term you use? Being recalled. Being recalled. And there is doubt as to whether or not we'll have another celebration, because it's done usually every 10 years or so on, in a big way. So this could well be the last opportunity to do that. So please, Thursday evening, Pedro St. James.
And what time at the time?
The official starts at 8:15, but people can come around from about 7:30. The static displays and stuff will be up. People can walk around and talk to the regiment and so on and understand what it is they do here. And, just show some support for them as well.
Okay, Ms. Susan, you have that first clip ready for us?
On this, for the record, June the 3rd, 2024, remembering D-Day, June the 6th, 1944. We take you back now to that day and the worldwide announcement heralding in that historic thrust for worldwide freedom and what it meant for humanity.
If you were in Manila that night, or in Singapore or London, you know the terror of that sound. You know it can never be imitated. It is the shimmering wail of 100 sirens bouncing off the echo chambers, which are a bombed city's dead buildings and deserted docks. If you were on Bataan that night, or the Burma Road 3 months later, or Guadalcanal a year later, you know that when a howitzer shell explodes, the jungle screams back. From Rayburn's gavel to the warning signal of the D-Day Armada, our glossary of war words reached round the globe and back again. Corregidor and Sevastopol, Strobing and Wainwright and HMS Prince of Wales, Sidi Barani and the Irrawaddy, Archangel and Bizerta and the Macassar Strait, Flak Happy, Radar, Spitfire, the Bazooka and the Molotov Cocktail, Schweinfurt, Ploesti, Dieppe, Ascension, the Kasserine Pass, and Hill 609, M1, JU-88, APO 885, OSS, and Jig Easy Sugar Queen, the Pripet Marshes, the Lido Road, the Slut, the Hump, the Repple Depots, the Piccadilly Commandos, and a beach called Anzio, the Memphis Belle, Geronimo, Wild Bull, the Fighting Lady, and the ceremonious pealing of Big Ben. The discordant bong of our little Liberty Bell on D-Day.
This is Supreme Headquarters, Allied Expeditionary Force.
And a man from Kansas with a message half the world had prayed for.
General Dwight D. Eisenhower.
People of Western Europe, a landing was made this morning on the coast of France by troops of the Allied Expeditionary Force. This landing is part of the concerted United Nations plan for the liberation of Europe, made in conjunction with our great Russian allies.
The liberation, like the message that signaled it, came in many tongues. The French of Charles de Gaulle.
La bataille suprême est engagée. Après tant de combats, de fureur, de douleur, voici venu le choc décisif.
And a Polish foreign minister in exile.
Żołnierze, lotnicy, marynarze Polacy, wkraczamy w decydującą fazę generalnej rozgrywki I porachunku z Niemcami.
Those who were there say King Haakon wept as he spoke to Norway.
Landsmenn, som led I den store strategiske plan, som har taget sigte på frigjøring av Europas undertrykte folk.
There were messages from the Dutch, the Danes, the Luxembourgers, and the Belgians.
Mes chers compatriotes, les opérations préliminaires pour la libération de l'Europe ont commencé.
I call upon all who love freedom to stand with us now. Together we shall achieve victory.
That was the historic announcement by General Dwight Eisenhower of the U.S. Army and Supreme Allied Commander of all forces in Europe, heralding in the D-Day action to rid the world of the Axis tyranny that was threatening the human race. The narrator was Edward R. Murrow.
Okay, we want to thank Mr. Loxley for producing that clip there for us. I believe we have another one. Do you have another one that we're going to share?
We have another one, but I'm not sure that, I don't know how much time we got that we want. We got actually another one on the Home Guard.
Okay, well,
which,
you know.
Which would fit in maybe a little later. But
Yep.
just to say something about just what you just heard. You notice the similarities of what was happening back in those days, Poland, and you know, it's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. Russia.
It's mirroring, what's taking place now. What's taking place now is mirroring then, yeah.
Yes, and liberation. Everybody was wanting to be liberated from the Nazi tyranny, and the same thing could be happening over there in Russia now.
Mm-hmm.
They basically want to promote the same pathway.
Same ideology.
Yeah. And for our listening and viewing audience, the countries that comprise the Allied forces, we had the United Kingdom, of course, the United States, Canada, France, Australia, Czechoslovakia, Poland, the Netherlands, Norway, New Zealand, Greece, South Africa, and southern Rhodesia, which is now known as Zimbabwe, all participated as well. And of course, the Allied commander was General Dwight D. Eisenhower as well. So just some historical tidbits for you.
He later became U.S. president.
Yes. Yeah.
8 years.
Yeah. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Let me tell you something. I've been fishing our island since I was a boy, and it's getting harder and harder to get a good catch. Maybe it's because there are so many more people in Cayman than ever before. Maybe it's because of how the climate is changing. I don't know about that, but I do know that I want to be able to keep fishing and teach my children to fish one day as well. So it makes sense to me that we have certain areas and certain times of the year to fish for certain things. It feels unfair not to be allowed to fish where my dad taught me to fish, but I know that being patient now means we can keep fishing for many more generations. We're all in this together, right?
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about DDay 80 celebrations. That conversation is taking place with Mr. Shane Bothwell, who is a veteran, Mr. Loxley Banks, who is executive of the Cayman Islands Veterans Association, and Mr. Alfonso Wright, who is the chairperson of Celebrate Cayman. So, Mr. Alfonso, you wanted to ask Mr. Loxley something as well. Go right ahead.
Hello. Is this you here?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. In these type of situations, I'm always keen to get involved because I always learn new things, and that is, I think that is so exciting. That just about every day in my life now, with things that I do, I come across new information. I hear new things for the first time, and I think that we as Caymanians need to be able to share these stories, because it's not our personal information to keep. Mm-hmm. It's things that I think we should always want to share. And Mr. Banks is so full of historical information and stuff. I always get I take great pride in being able to listen and hear him reflect on things from days gone by. And one of the conversations we were having was because I got asked by someone, actually it was from the governor's office, as to whether or not we knew what the mode was like in Cayman on D-Day, when news came out that they were victorious. And I couldn't speak to that, so I called Mr. Banks, and he relayed to me, gave me a good indication of how life was back in Cayman in those days, and we take a lot for granted. We take a tremendous of things for granted, and I believe that it would be good if he could just expand on some of the things that he talked to me about, simple communications and how we would have found out about the victory and so on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll pick it up from where he says that he had this request to speak to what it might have, and I think the word you used to me was what kind of celebrations there was.
Exactly right. How did Cayman celebrate?
Yeah. And well, I said there was no celebration on that day, June the 6th, 1944, simply because the whole operation was secret, though the Germans had a pretty good idea of what was being planned. But it was termed secret, so there was very little forward communications, especially to the public, on what was going to be happening. And back in those days, there might have been 2 or 3 radios in each district, if that many. And we got a clip coming up right after this to do with the Home Guard, which had been formed, I guess, about 2 years, maybe 2.5, 3 years prior to that, how they were involved in, here locally in Cayman, of trying to do what they could to keep Cayman safe. And again, I go back to the point that the population in Cayman at that time was probably hovering somewhere between maybe 3,000 and 5,000.
Well, I could actually tell you it was over 6,000, but the majority of the men were out to sea. Yeah. So the population on land was probably around the figures that he's talking about, but we were right around 6,000.
Yes. So you see the significance of all of this, and the club that we'll hear in a little bit, actually with Bob Soda describing the Home Guard scenario. But, there was news usually was communicated by looking at the blackboard at each post office. The notice board. Notices would come down from Government House and be posted there. You had to be continuously, if you were really interested, passing by this notice board all day, 2 or 3 times a day, looking at what was there. And in each district, I'm sure, there were little hamlets, you can call them hamlets, or positions. Like in West Bay, there was a location called the Big Gun, which is right at the foot of what's, I guess it's called West Church Street. But anyway, it's the street that goes out to the water right past the 4-way stop. Mm-hmm. There was a big gun, and it was a big cannon pointing out to sea, and it was the favorite seat of, and again, Shane, Mr. Fraser Henning. Yeah. He was seated there every afternoon, probably from 5 to 7 o'clock. And I remember there was one radio that was really prominent, and that was the radio of Mr. Caleb Powell. And he was somewhat enabled, but he had everything that he, I guess, was born with between his ears, and he could listen to the BBC, and usually the BBC reports, and relay everything out through somebody to the Big Gun. Now, you have to remember also that those days, to power a radio, you almost had to have a car, because you use car batteries. And the battery died down. If you didn't have a car, you had to go to somebody and say, "Can you charge this battery for me?" So communication in those days, and 1944. Well, I would have been, let's see, 8 and 6, 14. I would have been 6 years old at that time, and I remember hearing things spoken, but it didn't really register too much with me. But I knew. The Home Guard. I knew the Home Guard. They were in action, and they had one lorry. They call it a lorry. It was actually a dump truck, and Harold Parchment drove it. Now, that's Henry Parchment's father, and it had a real zing to it. Zing, and every schoolboy in West Bay, because Harold from West Bay, and I'm sure it spilled over to other. You remember we had our hats, and we'd be driving cars, running down the road with his hat, and you could hear zinging Harold. But communications was a difficult task back in those days. But we we communicated, and
we're going to try to play that clip now. Before, first of all, I'm going to ask you, gentlemen, if you want have enough time to stay on after the headline news 9 o'clock. We don't have anyone booked after 9 o'clock, so if you
unfortunately got a mission to come.
Well, I can stay,
yeah. But before, because I think that cut.
It's about 3 minutes, I think, so we have enough time.
Okay, well, let's go.
Yeah, Ms. Susan, go right ahead.
Now, Bob, you were on home soil during World War II, that is, in the Home Guard. Tell us a little bit about your sacrifices and what you went through.
Well, I remember the war breaking out, and I was 13 years old, I think it was. It was only one radio in my neighborhood, and that was Uncle Sade, we called him, Truman Bodden's grandfather. And all the old people would gather on the porch to hear the news from the BBC, what was happening in the war. And I used to go out and hang out with these old men to hear what was going on. I was very interested in what was going on. And then we started a campaign here to collect scrap to ship to England to help the war effort. We collected old aluminum pots, and they shipped some cannons from the old fort back to England to use in the war effort. All the older boys, my friends who was older, became of age, and they started going off to the war, to America in a merchant marine or joining the armed forces. Trinidad people went off to join the Royal Naval Reserve, and then they started recruiting for the Home Guard. I was 16 years old, and you had to be 18, but I was 6'1", so I went up there and volunteered. I told them I was 18 because I never had a birth certificate, and they couldn't prove any difference. I was born in Cuba and came here when I was 2 years old, and I never got a birth certificate until 1947. So they couldn't dispute how old I was. And I got my mother to sign that I was 18. So I got in there, and they wanted 70 men, and they could have tripled it. So I was lucky to get in there, I thought. And they recruited 70 of us, and we had a Canadian sergeant instructor, and by that time we had a U.S. Navy base here with 50 sailors and 2 bombers stationed here doing patrol for submarines, because I seen ships get blown up right in front of Georgetown Harbor going by the submarine, and the submarine come on the surface and talk to the crew. And we never had a gun here to do anything. Some of our men went out on the Simboka to pick up the men, bring them in. We went in basic training for 3 months. We had rifles and Sten guns, call them Tommy guns or Sten gun, 30-round magazine. You could cut a coconut tree in two with it. We got 2 field artillery pieces, 3-inch guns, and we had a lorry truck that could move them around the island wherever we needed them if it was needed. And we had some gun emplacements in Georgetown where we kept one in the gun emplacement right next to the public school, and across the street we had ammunition dump, or rifle ammunition. I did training in Jamaica with the British Army. I had 2 tours of duty over there over the years, and I took a course in artillery over there. I'd like to have been on the active army or the Air Force to do something more for the country, because Caymanians are patriotic and to the mother country, and I am still that way, even though our culture has changed over the recent years, but it hasn't changed me. I would like to see some of our younger people today step up to the plate. It's a very good thing to do, serve in the military. It taught me a lot, and I had those things that I have been a guide for my life ever since I served. We had stations, Northwest Point, Barkers, North Side, East End, Pedro Bluff, and 2 stations in Georgetown, plus the headquarters, and a central where we called in all the reports from the outer stations, and we would relay everything to the U.S. Navy. All the reports had to go to the U.S. Navy base all hours of the night. I remember one night I was working with Arthur E. Banks. He was in charge of the headquarters for central control, and I was working with him, and we had a report came in 2 o'clock in the morning that the station in Northwest Point called in. They had seen a rubber boat come in and put 2 people ashore, Northwest Point. So I went up there, and they had a little building at the gate. Man is always there 24 hours a day. And when I went there, he had a 45 out laying on the shelf with a little window like this, and he was sleeping. So I took the gun, pulled it off, and grabbed him and shook him. He jumped for the gun. I said, I got it here. I was scared if I woke him up, he would shoot me. So I said, I'm not going to tell anybody anything. So I had to go directly to the commanding officer, barracks, and wake him and give him the report, And then we all saddled up, went to West Bay all night in the mosquitoes, searching West Bay for these 2 men. Never found a thing.
Radio station. Radio Cayman is the voice of the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
Tonight, it's a parade of space stations. Both crewed space stations will make dramatic flybys over Cayman within a few minutes of each other tonight. Tiangong, with 3 on board, will pass from right to left across the southern sky at about 7:50, and then minutes later, the International Space Station, with its 7 people on board, will pass almost directly overhead from the northwest at 8:04. Claudia Sheinbaum has been elected as Mexico's first female president in an historic landslide win. Mexico's official electoral authority said preliminary results showed the 61-year-old former mayor of Mexico City winning between 58 and 60% of the vote in Sunday's election. That gives her a lead of about 30 percentage points over her main rival. She will replace her mentor and outgoing president, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, on October 1st. And with the strike of the judge's gavel in Delaware, Hunter Biden, the son of Joe Biden, will become the first child of a sitting president to be a criminal defendant. Prosecutors allege that the younger Biden, 54, lied about his drug use on an application form when he purchased a handgun in 2018. He faces up to 25 years in prison if convicted of the 3 federal counts in a case that gets underway today with jury selection. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're talking about the DDay 80, the 80th celebration of the Allied landing in Europe. In the studio, we have the chairperson of Celebrate Cayman, Mr. Alfonso Wright, and the member of the executive of the Cayman Islands Veterans Association, Mr. Loxley Banks. We did have a veteran, Mr. Shane Bothwell, but he had to leave us. Before I throw the mic back over to these two gentlemen, we do have birthday greetings. So Mrs. Lucy Simpson celebrating her birthday, and happy birthday greetings are coming from her mother, Mrs. Elma Ebanks, her brother, Mr. Danny, and his wife, Miss Lorna Ebanks, her daughter, Miss Sheriff Rivers, her grandson, D'Angelo, and grandsons, D'Angelo and Duran, and the rest of the family as well. So happy birthday to her. Also, we want to give a birthday shout out to Mr. Antonio Hawkins, who's celebrating his birthday today as well. Happy birthday to Mr. Antonio Hawkins as well. Gentlemen, the mic is yours.
Well, all right. We're, again, very appreciative of the opportunity to be able to come on here and speak of events, and especially something as significant as DDay 80th anniversary. Again, the event will take place at Pedro St. James on Thursday evening. It is a little late in the evening, but it's a time that the celebrations take place around the world.
Well, okay.
So we have no control over that. We just come in tune with with the rest of the world on occasions like this. The regiment will be there with a static display from early, like around 7:30, so people are welcome to come in early if they so wish. The official part of the ceremony begins at 8:15, and it'll be over by 9:15 with the lighting of the beacon, which is this significant piece of the entire celebration, because beacons around the world will be lit at 9:15 in significance to D-Day, in the lighting of the beaches at Normandy and everything else to show that the path is now clear and light had replaced darkness. We will have refreshments there. It's open invitation. The entire Cayman Islands are invited to come out, and it would be a good thing to see our veterans supported. Her Excellency the Governor will be there participating, and she will light the beacon for us, and she will be assisted in doing that by the regiment. Mr. Banks here is on the program. The president of the Veterans Association will speak, and so will the Honorable Premier. Open invitation. It will be good to see a good turnout there on Thursday evening. Pedro St. James, beautiful location. Please make plans to come out.
And you said no invite is necessary. It's a open
invitation.
Forum,
Yeah, it's open to the public. These things we appreciate whatever support we can get.
Everybody invited.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Banks, over the years, can you talk a little bit about the Cayman Islands Veterans Association? As we know, the numbers will start to decrease, but how do we keep the organization alive? How do you keep it going?
Well, we've been mulling that task over for quite a while. I think we've expanded the membership to family members of veterans. And as I mentioned before, we've been trying to corral these young veterans, because there may be up to 50 young veterans within the Cayman Islands community who has served in various armed services over the last 30, 40 years. And we would want them to, and every now and again, we get a few of them in, and there are also, veterans that are working here, and some of them come in and help us. And but we try to support veterans who, in this day, have needs, and that's all of our, I guess you could say, gathering of funds, Poppy Day, and the Veterans Gala in October. All the funds that are collected through those outreaches, go back into the community, supporting that, because, there are veterans here from other countries who need help, and we reach out to them. They reach out to us, and we reciprocate and trying to help them in the best way we can. And that's there. And I would believe that we have as members in the association probably maybe 5 or 6, half a dozen veterans that have served in their countries, Germany and some of the other countries over the years. And if we go back to that clip that we heard with Bob Soda there, I mean, that kind of gave you an idea of the role that the what was it, the unit called? The Home Guard. And, there were such luminaries in that Home Guard contingent of Mr. Vassal Johnson, Doran Miller. He was there, and CB, and I guess that's what Clifton Borden. And Haldane Borden, and some of the other ones that I mentioned, Harold Parchment, and
There was many others, and I think Fonzo, we've pretty well got a collation of all the members that were in the unit.
Pretty much, So there are a few little spelling things that we have to verify on there, Orrett. But you had some of your family members were also on there. Malachi Connor was one of the members of the Home Guard.
Yep, my uncle.
Yeah,
one of my uncles.
Yeah, and quite a few more. Mr. Carlin Nixon.
Yes,
again, we also know Mr. Roddy Watler.
Mm-hmm.
He was the commander of the Home Guard. So a lot of Caymanians that you might not believe, that you mightn't quite understand. You may have seen them in later years and not quite understood how the significance of their contribution before your time. What I also found, Orrett, was when Mr. Banks spoke to me about Andrew Henning being a Caymanian who actually went ashore on the beach in Normandy. I started doing a little bit of research, and I actually found his draft card.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And then I searched some more, and I came across about 66 additional draft cards of individuals who were born in the Cayman Islands.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how significant that was, because maybe they were transient here and people who were born here but weren't Caymanians. I don't know. Some of the names are familiar. A lot of them are E-Bankses, and you ought to tell a joke about the E-Bankses in the Home Guard in Trinidad. But a lot of them are local names. But during the war or right after the war, a lot of these individuals who would have served became naturalized Americans. Mm-hmm. And you do understand why they did that too, because there were benefits for veterans and stuff at the time. So we have a little bit of a task going through those names and seeing how much people like Mr. Loxley will be able to recognize who they are. But there are quite a few names out there like that. I also came across about a dozen who were drafted around World War I as well. I didn't pay much attention to them at the time. I know I can go back and find them, but because we were looking after seeing what we could find in the Home Guard of those who served in 1944. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But there's a lot of information out there, and a lot of these records that were secret, or for the want of a better word, are now open to the general public. That we can research and find stuff out there. But again, I'll say, as small as we are, we've made some significant contributions in very important pieces of history, areas of history around the world.
Okay, we're going to take another commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN Money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money transfer card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
This is Rakeem Lashley, and I work in the water and wastewater sector. I am concerned about the vulnerability of our island's sewage systems to climate impacts. Flooding is becoming a bigger concern due to rising sea levels and more intense rainfall events. This can compromise sanitation systems and put the health and safety of our people at risk, so protecting our environment and strengthening critical infrastructure are priorities. To learn more about the climate risks to our islands, visit www.gov.ky/climate change policy.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Good morning, and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, the chairperson of Celebrate Cayman, Mr. Alfonso Wright, and a member of the executive of the Cayman Islands Veterans Association, Mr. Loxley Banks. We're talking about the DDay 80 celebrations to take place on the anniversary of the D-Day invasion, 6th of June 1944. Gentlemen, I'm learning, so I'm going to pass the mic over to you all and listen in.
Well, one funny thing I'll mention, the lateness of the, I guess you could say, the main event in the celebrations coming up on Thursday at Pedro Castle of lighting the beacon. And the actual D-Day invasion started at 12:30 in the morning. That was when the paratroopers, as those of you who've been listening that you heard Shane talk about, was dispatched to go in to kind of soften up the defense on the other side. They were dropped behind what was termed enemy lines, but and Shane mentioned that the weather, and it was high winds, and a lot of the aircrafts got blown off course, and they were scattered all over the place. But I think, that's the connection, the timing. I think they're probably trying to coagulate all of those things that really happened on the beginning of D-Day. And you heard Bob talking about the Home Guard, and, there were, I think, 250 Caymanians in the Royal Trinidadian Navy. And we were just talking in between segments here that those fellas that were in the Trinidadian Navy, especially, when they went further afield, came home, because in 1945, when the war was over, they all came back home. Every one of them came back home, and they were Bacadian, if you know what that means. Bacadie, back in those days, is the pronunciation of Bacardi.
Bacardi, okay.
Bacardi. So they all had their fill of getting their fill of Bacardi, which they had missed. And there's a lot of stories about when they came back. In fact, there's one, and I won't tell it here this morning, but they called it the foolish horse. But anyway. And there's all kind of stories. But when they went far afield, as we said, to UK and the US, that kind of gave them an advantage having this service behind them. And the same thing could happen now, I think, with Caymanians, with regiment, service in a regiment or membership in a regiment, whenever made, because they go farther afield. It could be beneficial to their
resume. You want to say that, and so it. I don't think. Well, it comes back to us not really singing our song. And Alfonso, at this point, I think you're doing a great job. I think your passion increases every time you go to sleep and wake up the next morning for trying to get all this stuff coagulated, because it's going to take some time and some work. But
the more you find, the more you want to look.
Well, that's exactly right. It becomes a frenzy when you find one piece, and then you go a little further and you find another piece, and then you sit there, and when you know it, hours have passed, and but you keep coming up with stuff, and I find a tremendous amount of excitement in that when I find things. I am working now on Seafarers Records, because we're just about getting ready to launch a new Seafarers website, and that is going to be a real exciting time for Caymanians. But what I was saying earlier too, Orrett, about finding over 6-day draft cards for individuals who on the draft card it listed them as being born in the Cayman Islands. So I'm not sure if we get credit for them as Caymanian serving in the war or not. Well, but I don't know. Sure.
Well, I think they have to be credited, because they, and a lot of them, many of them were pulled off their ships and issued directly into the U.S. Army, and that was because the Army they sent informational piece or a letter, a draft letter, saying report to Fort Hood, report to wherever, in 15 days. And the seafarers, they were going from port to port, and these notifications were always delayed, and the Army was following. They knew where they were at, and when they went to port, they went to the ship and said, "You got to go with us." There was I call it famous, or an incident here with Caymanians, and they were on a ship called the Benson, and I think she had maybe 3 or 4 Caymanian crew, but they needed more crew, and this would have been around, I think, 1952, 51, and I'm not sure about this, but I believe the captain might have known something about Cayman seafaring heritage. So they came to Cayman to ship some more crew. But one, and the reason I can relate this story, one of the guys, I think he was bosun on the ship, Sam Hennings, the ship went to New Orleans, was coming to Cayman. They pulled him off in New Orleans, sent him to Fort Dix. Now, you got to realize back in those days there was no telephones, so the ship came in.
And he's not on it.
And, well, he was engaged to a beautiful lady. And there was another guy on there that was engaged to a beautiful lady in West Bay, and they were all out on the beach, Actually, they cleared and they came into West Bay, anchored right in the White Hole in West Bay, what they call the White Hole in West Bay. And they were coming ashore, and people kept looking. Don't see Sam Hennings. Don't see Sam Hennings. Don't see Sam Hennings. And when Mac, that was the other Cayman, and jumped on the beach, he hollered it out. The Army pulled Sam off in New Orleans.
Oh.
And, Lordy.
Yeah.
So, it's...
Yeah. But you see, all right, we got plenty of stories, we got
I'm
plenty of
listening.
interesting stories, But to get the opportunity to tell them and to get people to listen.
Yes.
We have such an interesting, colorful, and meaningful past. But I was also saying, Orrett, that a lot of the names that I'm now finding as people who were drafted, I recognize the names as seafarers. To show what Mr. Banks just said, the connection.
Connection, yeah.
A lot of these seafarers also serve as in the military, and vice versa.
I think if I can jump in here, but you also have to remember that basically what we have talked about this morning is the European theater. But you've got to realize that in 1941, the Pacific theater was as dense as the European theater, and there were Caymanians on that side, Denton Henning, and we've sort of mentioned his story here on the air several times. He was in the Navy, a frogman, probably the first deep sea Cayman Islands diver.
Wow.
He was a frogman.
Okay.
And this was the latter part of the war, I guess probably late 1943, mid 44, in all of the capture of all the islands that running up to Japan, because there was plans to invade Japan just like there was Europe. But of course they had to get all these beachheads before. And he told the story of going in, I think it was Guadalcanal, at night on a mission to blow up the reef that the landing craft would have to travel, so that they would, going in at night to blow them up so that the landing crafts would have a safe path. And he made the comment. He said, I don't know how we were going to blow up these things, and the Japs on land would not know about it. But they did their job, but they got lost or they got scattered. But eventually they got back to the mothership, and he went on to be a championship wrestler who's bounced, I think, online, championship wrestler, and he became then a traveling evangelist, and this was Denton Henning. And when I came home in 1975, he was still alive, and I made an effort at that time to bring him back out here in some kind of, it was an evangelistic sort of sphere, but I got some pushback on it, and but I kind of expected that, because the people didn't understand the significance of all this.
Yes, I can imagine. Yeah. Okay, we're going to take another commercial break. Miss Susan, coming over to you, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
At Kirk's Home Center,
Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Mr. Alfonso Wright and Mr. Loxley Banks talking about DDay 80. We do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Okay, and you?
Fine, thanks.
Okay, good morning to you guests also.
Good morning.
Well, speaking of DDay, there's some serious times going on now, as we can see. And I have my reasons for suggesting that we should go independent as a country, especially if we're able to keep our dollar at the same value, and especially if we're able to have our Cayman passports the same way that we're able to use them as we're doing with our British passports. And my main reason for saying that is that I do not think and I do not believe or would suggest that our young men have to go to war for England. I don't know if you all realize what's going on, but a few months ago, Russia shot down one of their own satellites in space. They just launched a nuclear missile or rocket in space, and it's still there, and it's near the American satellite station. The Bible has warned us that in World War III, America and England will be totally destroyed by Russia and by China. Whether you believe it or not, or believe what the Holy Bible says, it will happen. And the time will come when the Russians will come here and take over this country. And the main reason why Jesus Christ and God Almighty are allowing this to happen is because of the way that America and England choose to live. They have chosen the life of Sodom and Gomorrah. And if England and America was to win World War III, they would turn the whole world into Sodom and Gomorrah. And in the eyes of Jesus Christ and God Almighty, they will not allow that to happen. And they do not have any fear whatsoever when it comes to God. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. Thank you. One of our listeners, Mr. Oscar, has shared with us 2 photographs of his uncle when he was in the National Guard, Mr. Haldane Bawden. He also says that he will attend and he will bring his uncle. He's 86 years old, and he can give us some stories, on the Home Guard, as well. So I want to thank him for that. Just want to say, Miss Sarah Orrett out there, Mr. Cresswell Powery and his family, want to send out happy birthday greetings to you as well. Gentlemen, I did a little bit of Googling and wanting to know the Caribbean's contribution to World War II. And BBC, I found an article on BBC, a story. How did the heroes of the Caribbean help win the war? And it says that when Britain called on the Caribbean for support in World War II, more than 10,000 men and women crossed the Atlantic in response. In Lancashire, factories, airfields in Kent and the forests of Scottish Highlands, West Indians provided fundamental support to the war effort. However, few made it to the front lines. This was because black West Indians faced another battle against racism. So, and then there is another story about a particular gentleman by the name of Gilbert Clark, who served as well. Remembering D-Day, RAF veteran Gilbert Clark recalls the thrill of planes overhead, and he talks about how he leans back in the seat of his mobile scooter, cranes his neck, and gazes into the bright blue skies over East London, remembering the moment 80 years ago when he knew the invasion of France was underway. Clark, then an 18-year-old Royal Air Force volunteer from Jamaica, was still a trainee learning about the intricacies of radar systems when the roar of aircraft engines forced him to look to the heavens on June 6, 1944. He's quoted as saying, "You couldn't have seen the blue sky." Clark recalled, his voice tinged with awe 8 decades later. Was all planes, hundreds and thousands of them, all shapes and sizes, all different types of planes. The instructor said, "Well, boys, it's started." We all shouted, "Give them hell," or probably something a lot stronger than that. Clark got to make his own contribution after he finished his training a few weeks later and was posted to a series of air bases where he served the radio and radar systems of Britain and American aircraft for the rest of the war. He plans to travel to northeast France later this week, joining other veterans of the Battle of Normandy for ceremonies marking the 80th anniversary of DDay landing that started the campaign to liberate Europe from Nazi rule. Clark, now 98, is one of more than 3 million men and women from South Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean who served in the British military during World War II. Citizens of what was still the British Empire, they volunteered to fight for, and I quote, "king and country," just like recruits from the British Isles, but their service is often overlooked. And it's pretty long, so I'll end it there. But Mr. Loxley, I'm sure that you can identify with some of the things that he's saying there based on what you have heard and probably based on your experience in the military as well, even though it was in the U.S.
Yeah, well, the thing that struck me there, and when you read it, I think you said 10,000 Caribbean people. And if you look at that time, 10,000 Caribbean people, and probably 2,000, might have been up to 3,000 Caymanians at that time was making a contribution to the defense of freedom and democracy. And you measure the Cayman contribution against whatever you want. You can see the measure of the Caymanian contribution to the freedom of democracy. And, it's still going on today because I know we've got Caymanians in various services around the world, willing to put their life on the line for freedom and democracy. And I think too long in this country, we've taken what we got here, the freedoms, and you want to call it the good stuff, for granted. But it's mainly because we have not sang our song. And as I said before, Alfonso, you're singing a great song, and I hope that you can add a lot of more notes to it here in the future.
Okay, just got clarification on something. Of course, Mr. Haldane Borden has passed on, but Mr. Oscar says that his uncle Pony, he's still alive. He was alive back then, and he'll be bringing him along, as well. Funds?
Yeah, well...
but before, someone was inquiring as to whether or not any transport would be provided for this function.
No, Orrett, we did not get through to... We didn't think that was going to be needed at this stage, that it's kind of after work in the evenings and stuff, it's not during working hours, and we figured that people would be able to make their way there. But you know, if there are issues and people have a problem, let me know. I'll see what I can do. But we have not planned for providing transportation.
I think here's an opportunity for all those transportation folks out there to step up and be a little benevolent to the
That's
situation.
Right. To a good cause.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, Ms. Susan, let's take that last commercial break now. On the voice note, anything? That was the question. That was the question that we had in relation to transport. Okay, folks, we're going to take our last commercial break, and I'm extremely grateful to Mr. Alfonso and Mr. Loxley for spending the entire segment with us. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers, a compounding story.
I don't think people realize how pain creeps into your life. It has a way of robbing your strength. I really don't like taking prescription medication orally.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. They understand.
When it comes to compounded medication, it's personal. So whenever there's a problem with some medication or treatments that's not working right, then a physician will call me and say, hey, they're having bad side effects from this medication.
Compounding pain cream changed the game. Made special for me. Significant pain relief in the form of a cream. That is a new experience for me.
It's changed his life.
It worked.
Ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about compounding at West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Call 914-6449.
Drinking water is critical after a storm. Your emergency kit should include a 5-day supply of water. That's 1 gallon of water per person per day. Store additional water for those with special needs, such as nursing mothers, young children, or people with illnesses. Keep drinking water in clean, non-corrosive, tightly covered containers. For more useful hurricane preparedness tips, visit the Water Authority's website at www.waterauthority.ky or follow us on social media.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Have you completed and returned your business survey forms? The deadline for the annual business surveys is June 14th. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the Economics and Statistics Office. For assistance in completing the forms or for more information, call 244-4676, 244-4600, or visit www.eso.ky. Remember, better data, better decisions, better business.
Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. We're talking about DDay 80 and the celebrations that will take place here in the Cayman Islands. That conversation is taking place with Mr. Loxley Banks and Mr. Alfonso Wright. Earlier we had Mr. Shane Bothwell in the studio with us as well, but he had to leave. So, Mr. Alfonso, I want you to remind our listeners and our viewers about the date, time of the event, and that the fact that everyone is invited to attend.
Thank you, OC. Yes, the event takes place on Thursday evening. That is 6th June. That's the 80th anniversary date for DDay. The gates will be open like from around 7:30. The official part of the ceremony starts around 8:15, but that's not very long. It's not a long, drawn-out type event. Very few speeches are going to be made, and they're going to be brief. We end with a beacon lighting at 9:15. That is going to be done. That is 9:15 p.m. That is going to be done throughout the world at 9:15. So that's the significance of the date, of the time, rather. People may think that, that's a little bit late, but that's when it's being done around the world. So come out. It's open invitation. The entire country is invited. We will have the regiment on hand. This is the first time we will be able to involve the regiment. So they will be doing a static display with a lot of their equipment, in machinery, in other items that will be under a tent, but they will have some of their big equipment on site. The veterans also will have some of their memorabilia on display. So we're asking people to come out, support them. We'll have a bit of music from High Tide during the evening as well. Her Excellency, the Governor, will say a few words and participate in the beacon lighting. Honorable Premier will be there as well. President of the Veterans Association will speak. And most importantly, we're going to have a good number of our remaining veterans out that evening. So come and show your appreciation. Speak to them. We just heard of somebody coming from Bordentown who can speak to a lot of the stories of the Home Guard. And we're compiling information on the Home Guard. Any stories you may have, any names that would have been on the list that you don't see or you haven't heard of that you think may have served in the Home Guard. Let us know, either myself, Mr. Loxley, Mr. Andrew McLaughlin. Let us know so we can get all these names in one place. Open invitation. You want people to come out, show their support. Whether you support war or not, this happened. This is a part of history. We can't go back and change that. But we must not take for granted the freedoms that we have, the democracy that we enjoy. We're done on the backs and the lives of people to make sure that we live in a free world today. Parts of the world, not everywhere is free, but where we are right now, we do experience a lot of freedoms that we should not take for granted. So come out, enjoy the evening, beautiful Pedro St. James, support our veterans.
You were mentioning also that the last celebration that we had of a similar nature was...
Yeah, these are done in 10 years, bands, Orrett. So the last major celebration in Cayman was 2015. But that was a celebration of VE Day. That's Victory Over Europe, which was 2015. That will be celebrated again next year, 2025. In May of next year. So two separate events. Maybe Mr. Banks can speak a little bit about VE Day. But this is why Shane was saying earlier that this may be the last celebration because it'll be another 10 years before the 90th anniversary comes around for DDay.
Mr. Banks.
Yeah, well, picking up on DDay, on DDay, or Victory in Europe, that was a momentous occasion out here in Cayman, because I remember when I was aware of that. Well, the main thing was that the main news that came through here that Hitler was dead, and I think that communicated to everybody that the war was basically over. And I remember I had a flag. I'm not sure whether it was an American flag or a UK flag, but one of my uncles had bought me from. He was in a goldfield playing in Tampa in those days, and I wanted to put that up on the kitchen roof, flying it. So I somehow, and and that would have been 45. So I would have been 8 and 6, 14, 7 years old at the time. So I must have had some cognizance of what this all meant. I think as a lot of other people or children in my age group, and the victory in Europe, and then of course that was May and August. It was August before the Pacific side was settled. So 1945 was a really celebratory year as far as defense of freedom and democracy, and I guess thoughts of the world going back to some kind of normalcy. But it really didn't happen, because in 45, I think in about 5 years later, you had the Korean War, which Caymanians were deep into that. Mm-hmm. And you can follow it all up through currently what you see or what you hear happening. And the caller kind of referenced a bit to what, if you can look at what was happening then and look at what's happening now, there are similarities, and God forbid that any of these things really come to be reality. But the nuclear threat is, and you've got some loose cannons with as they all say the hand on the red button, and Churchill made the prediction in I guess it was 1945. In the future, I kind of paraphrase this, in the future, wars will be fought in the mind. And if you look at all the technologies, there are probably going to be very few battlefield scenes. It'll be in the stratosphere. And what does that mean? If it's up there, it could spread over the whole world.
Yep.
Humanity in the balance. And before we go, I'd like to mention that video that I mentioned earlier, the title of it is Light of Dawn, which, the depiction of D-Day. And, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with the Iwo Jima scenario, and there was a Caymanian on Iwo Jima on that day, Hugh Thompson, who came back to Cayman. And Alfonso, I've been trying to trace his journey, but he came back to Cayman, and by all accounts that I am able to gather, he was probably, back in those days they call it shell shock, but now it's the
PSTD.
PSTD. Very, very seriously.
And he was a Thompson from George.
Yeah. And it was Purple Heart. He was a Purple Heart winner. Wow. And it's Lordy, I don't know. And just to drop back a little bit, a lot of the audio stuff that is available or that is in the community, we got to give the archives some
credit
for, because they did quite a bit, but also Doran Miller, because as I mentioned before, Doran was in the Home Guard, and he was as passionate about gathering this information as anybody. And I also had a great passion for it, so the two of us went after it pretty aggressively, and we were able to gather up quite a bit of it. But and I'm sure Alfonso will keep the initiative moving, and anybody else out there that
that's right
are interested in it, I'm sure if you get in contact with Alfonso and you can offer some assistance, it would be welcomed.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right. It's my passion, so I will continue as best as I can. But I think we're almost there. But I can put Mr. Loxley on the spot and ask him to tell you a story about his first flashlight.
Yes.
Well, you know, I mentioned just a little bit that my uncle was on the gold field, sailing on the gold field, and back in the war years, it was the gold field and the Antares that played, I think, between Tampa and Cayman mostly, and that was, you know, and he was on the gold field, and he brought me a flashlight during this period, and I wanted so, you know, I was, I guess, 4 years old, 5 years old. I wanted so much to use this flashlight, but my parents, you can't, because you couldn't turn any lights on. On shore, you couldn't do anything that would alert, because there were submarines all around this island. Mm-hmm. You couldn't do anything that would alert. So I couldn't turn this flashlight on. They made me, at night, I had church night, and they'd make me take it with me because I had this flashlight. And sometimes I'd try to sneak off in the bushes. I said, can I go in the bushes and turn it on? But anyway, after the war was over, I used that flashlight, man. And you needed a flashlight sometime in walking through a lot of the little, what do we call them, little snake tracks, because there was big holes, mud holes. A flashlight came in handy.
Okay. One last reminder.
Thursday evening, Pedro St. James events. The gates will open at around 7:30. Official ceremony starts at 8:15. Will be over by 9:15. We will have drinks and refreshments there. It's open invitation, free admission. Come help us celebrate the 80th anniversary of D-Day, and to learn a little bit more about the Caymanians who participated in around that time in the war efforts. The governor will say a few words, so will the Honorable Premier. Mr. Banks will be on the podium, and the President of the Veterans Association, Mr. Andrew McLaughlin. The regiment will be there with a static display, showing off some of the stuff that they have, some of the materials that they have to help us in times of disaster and so on. And it would be good to familiarize ourselves with all that's going on. But more than anything else, show our support for the veterans.
Precisely. So you need not have a family member who may have participated.
No connection
just come
whatsoever.
out there and show your support.
Yeah, but now that you mentioned that, Orrett, especially though if you have a family member who you should come out and understand a little bit more about what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but whether it was in the war effort overseas or whether it was in the home guard here, they also served an important role.
And you know, there are so many family members, I'm sure, still alive. I can recall, well, you know, there was a gentleman from, I think it was Northside, Wady Connolly.
Mr. Wady.
Yeah. He actually, along with...
I would be Churchill Connolly, Tona Connolly,
Their dad.
Miss Eileen.
Mr. Wady, along with my father, and Baxter Rovers from West Bay. They spent 19 months, this was on the Pacific side, out there, and they were hauling fuel barges. They were on a big, what they call ocean-going tug, pulling these these big fuel barges all amongst the islands, because, you know, logistically, it's a big job. And my father said to me, he said, you know, sometimes we'd be going along, and the way he said it, it didn't really, you know, click too much with me at the time. And I'd see barges being blown up all around me.
Wow.
And never did we get hit. I mean, it's...
It's amazing. Gentlemen.
War is hell, you know.
Yeah. I want to thank both of you for accommodating me this morning and staying on for the entire show
no.
as well.
Thank you for having us.
Folks, I want to thank all of you who have listened, who have called in, who have sent in WhatsApp messages as well. I want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are. So I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. John Sterling, Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury, and JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice.
Covering Little Cayman, Cayman Bride.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.